Hello and warm welcome to everyone. This is the monthly webinar of Compass Europe. We call it ZoomCafe because we want to have some good interaction, and we will have such during our meeting. We organize these Zoom cafes in order to serve you, in order to help you in your journey of financial discipleship. And this is why we select topics that will help you and your ministry to grow. This evening, we have a very provocative topic related to social media and even AI. And at the beginning, I want to start with a joke. Once AI attended a counselor, the AI realized it needs counseling session. So at the beginning of the therapy, the counselor asked AI what brought it to this meeting. And the AI said, I spend too much time on social media. Okay, so whether we can use social media and AI in our ministry, we will explore further this topic today. I want to make sure that all the Italians join the interpretation room. So if any of the Italians hasn't done so, please join it in order to take full advantage of the webinar. And why we organize these webinars and who is Compass Europe, I want to share a short video with presentation of Compass Europe from one of the founders of the global ministry, Howard Dayton. It's just 4 minutes, so enjoy.
Did you know the Bible has 2,350 verses dealing with how to handle money, and that 15% of everything that Jesus Christ said had to do with it? Now, why did God say so much about money? Well, He knew that from time to time it would be a struggle for all of us. And because the Lord loves us so deeply and cares for us so much, He wanted to equip us to handle it really wisely. Now, I don't have to tell you, there are lots of people struggling financially, trying to get good jobs, struggling with debt, or not having enough savings. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And that's what Compass is all about, helping people just like you learn God's way of handling money. Well, for the past 30 years, I've had the privilege of leading 2 ministries that have taught these financial principles to more than 65 million people in 88 countries. We've surveyed literally thousands of graduates of the study, and I want you to listen to the results of these surveys. Within 3 years of completing the study, graduates reduced their debt, are you ready for this? An average of 38%, their savings increased by 58%, and their giving, well, it went off the charts. It increased by 71%. I mean, just think about that. A lot less debt, a lot more saving and giving. Now, I'd like to share a vision with you, one that's become a reality in the lives of so many people during the last 3 decades. I want you to imagine for a moment that you live in a city with a population of 200,000, and 5% of the people in that city enroll in a Compass small group study. That would be 10,000 people who'd learn God's way of handling money. And if they experience an average debt reduction of $10,000, this would eradicate a total of $100 million of debt. And if it's credit card debt at 18%, 18 million will be freed up each year to help people reach their financial goals and to fund the work of Christ. What would happen? I mean, think about this. What would happen if half of these people became financially free? You'd have an army of people who were entirely out of debt, were generous givers, and had enough income from their savings, investment, and retirement to do whatever the Lord wanted them to do without having to earn a salary. Just imagine what could happen through these volunteers serving the inner city, the jails, and their churches. I mean, what would happen on the mission field? And if the other 5,000 remained in their jobs with their financial needs met, they'd be in position to give a significant portion of their income. And if these 5,000 people gave an average of $20,000 a year, $100 million each year would be given to the cause of Christ. So I just want you to dream with me. What would happen in your community if 5% of the people practiced God's way of handling money? You know, I'm convinced of this. If you and I are going to have a major impact on our generation for Christ, we have to free up people's time and money to be invested for eternity. So I want to encourage you. That's not strong enough. I want to challenge you. Please join us in leading others through a Compass small group study. You can have a huge impact on your church, your community, and yes, even on the world for Christ. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, Howard shared with us a great vision, and let us dream with him, and let us start this meeting with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you humbled because you are a great God, and you have a good plan for our lives. You have called us to serve you, and we are so thankful for this, Lord. And Lord, I pray that we can serve you with our time, with our treasure, and with our talents. I pray that we are financially free, and I pray that we are able to teach many more people of your eternal principles, and use this time this evening to encourage us, to equip us to serve you even more effectively in our cities, so that we can reach the 10,000s that Howard shared about. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. As I said, we will be interacting, and one of the ways to do it will be through questions and answers. So while our presenter is sharing tonight, please be active and share your questions. And later we will also have breakout rooms. But for now, be prepared to write your questions. And we will be speaking about reaching millions on social media, and we have invited Jesse Bernst from the Netherlands. I want to briefly introduce him. First of all, he's a very dear brother. We've worked with him, we've have many meetings, and he has a heart for Jesus, and he works in a similar field as us on finances. And he has the same beliefs as us. He has the same convictions, just he serves in a different audience than ours. But he's very effective, and we can learn from him. He started his career as working for companies like Ernst & Young and PricewaterhouseCoopers. And he worked as asset managers in big companies. He's currently a portfolio manager and influencer on social media. So I want to give the word and to him, and we are all in ears. Brother Jesse, it's up to you.
Thank you, Pavel. Thank you for this very kind introduction. Let me share my screen and let's start the conversation. Let me know if you can see everything, then
yes, that's perfect.
I'll start. Yeah, thanks, Pavel. I will be talking about social media. Everybody might have noticed that social media has become more and more dominant in our culture. More and more people are active on social media, and social media can be used to gain an audience, to help people to engage with new audiences. But before we talk about social media, let me first share about myself. I've been a Christian for, I think, about 15 years now. I've been raised as a Christian, but when I was 18 years old, I came to now what I would say living faith. It became really important to me. That was also the moment that I really had the feeling that God called me to be an investor in His kingdom. At that time, I didn't really know what it meant, but eventually I also became a professional investor. I'm a husband. I'm also a father of 3 boys. I studied in Amsterdam, gained a master in finance, and eventually also received my title, Chartered Financial Analyst, which is kind of the, let's say, the title that most professional investors have. So it's the title that you need to become a professional investor. And I've worked during my career with many prominent companies, and I finished my, let's say, my career in large organizations. I finished my career at Goldman Sachs Asset Management last summer. And then I finally started my own company. But before that time, I already was active on social media. I already started to see what is currently done on social media. And then, but let's say last year, we decided to go on our own, to start our own company, Money Principles, to teach people about money. So what do? We currently have a radio program in the Netherlands every Wednesday evening on a Christian radio station called God Radio. We have a 30-minute segment where we teach people about God and money. So what does the Bible teach about money? But also we give very practical tips. Also what is currently in the news about money. We also answer questions from listeners. And our goal is to effectively help people improve their financial situation. And we have recently written a book about personal finance, which will be published the 1st of June this year. And that's a book, that's a Dutch book, and hopefully we'll be able to translate that in other languages as well. But that was kind of what we started with. And we started January this year. So we only started with this radio program a few months, but we already seen quite some interesting results, which we were happy to share. But before we do that, to give a bit of an insight of what does it mean to have, let's say, a radio program and to be active on social media, I will share a quick video. So enjoy. And this is something that my team prepared. I'm very proud of what they've made. Thanks to them. Here a video of how our production process.
Maakt geld gelukkig. Does money make you happy? The big question people ask themselves. La réponse est que l'argent en lui-même ne rend pas les gens heureux. Es stimmt also, dass Menschen, die reicher sind, glücklicher sind. Pero eso tiene más que ver con lo que hacen con su dinero. Nel momento in cui utilizzate il vostro denaro per aiutare le persone, vedrete che diventerete davvero più felici. Ale jeśli używasz pieniędzy wyłącznie dla siebie, by kupować ładne rzeczy, to faktycznie widzisz, że wpłyv na tvoje szczęście, teda keď sa zvýši vaše bohatstvo, tak sa vlastne станете šťastнейшими. Но это не имеет никакого отношения к тому, сколько денег лежит на вашем банковском счете. That's just a number, but it's about what you do with it. Does money make you happy? The big question people ask themselves. The answer is money itself basically does not make people happy.
So that was a bit of an impression of what the production process looks like. So what we do every week, we record a video, or we record a radio program that's both audio and video. We create a full episode. We post that on podcast platforms, on YouTube, but it's also on air at the radio station. And what we also do is that we, from each episode, we cut out the different segments, and we also put each segment, we publish that on YouTube. But what we also do from these different segments, we cut out different small videos, and we use these small videos to post on our social media platforms. And then what we also do is that next to, let's say, these videos, we also do some posts depending on what, for instance, we have achieved on social media or some events that we want to promote. And we generally do that in Dutch. So we have a primary Dutch channel, because I speak Dutch. So primarily we have a Dutch channel. And what we also do, what you can see in the video, is that we translate the videos to other languages. And we've done a pilot with Compass in October, which I'm happy we will be sharing today more about that. But first, let me talk about the Dutch channel. So the Dutch channel has reached, over the last 2.5 months, reached about 5 million people. We had about 90,000 interactions, which means likes, comments on our videos. We post generally on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And what you see is that not all platforms are created equal. So each platform reacts differently to the content that we post. And what you see now is that for us, Facebook and TikTok have been the most successful. But in total, we have about 5,000 followers across the 4 platforms. Next to that, we also have the podcast platforms, which we monitor. So those are mainly focused on, let's say, the full episodes. But these channels here, the social media channels, focus on, let's say, all the content. So there is mostly what we see is that the short format content, the 30-minute, 1 minute, 30-second, 1 minute videos, that those do really well. Because those are picked up by the social media algorithms. They help us to create, let's say, an audience, and that it's kind of marketing to invite people to also listen to the full episode that will teach them more about, let's say, the financial principles that we want to teach them. Because a 30-second video or 1 minute video doesn't cover, let's say, the full story, but it can give somebody a bit of a hint on what we want to teach them, and what we see is that has been relatively successful. So I think about a few months ago, we also discussed how can we use this content for Compass. So is this also a way, for instance, for Compass to translate content into the native language of their audience? So we started a pilot with Compass. How does these AI programs work? And is it possible to translate the content that we have in Dutch? Can we translate that into other languages? And more importantly, is the translation good? Will people react to the content? What is the reaction of the audience and the people that we reach when we post translated videos? So what we did, we decided for 1 week that we would translate 7 videos. So one day, one new video in 4 languages: Russian, Italian, Slovakian, and German. And we would post those videos on 4 platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and see what would happen over the course of a week. Now, these were the results. So over the week, that's only 1 week, we had 10,000 views, or let's say 1 week of posting of videos. We monitored a bit longer after that week. We also monitored for, let's say, 1.5 months to see what would happen in, let's say, other months as well with the same content. But what we would saw is that we would get about 10,000 views for 7 videos, 4 languages. So this is a total. We got about 400 likes and 37 followers. Now, what did we learn from that? We learned one thing is that the translations were quite good, which is always a bit tricky when you do translations. Personally, I don't speak Russian. I don't even speak Italian, or even my German is not really good. So I personally cannot check whether the translations are good, but what we can see is what we look at the interactions. And if a native speaker starts liking your video, starts commenting on the video, I think that's a good indication that were not comments like, okay, it's an AI translation or something like that. No, that's something that we haven't received. It were likes that people were interacting with the video, which was a good indication that the video was well received. What we also saw was that 1 week is maybe a bit short to do a full test to really see if you can go viral. But what we can already see is that if you just look at the reach that we had about 3,000 views per language per week. If you translate that into, let's say, a month, a year's time, and also if you look at the development of followers, if you have 10 followers a week, that means 50 followers a month, that's 600 followers a year. That's already for a new channel with 0, let's say, followers, because these channels had 0 followers when we started them. That's very good, because then when you have followers, you get more views, then you will reach more people, and then the organic growth can begin. So we already saw something that we would call organic growth. And we think that it has clear potential. Maybe quickly look at what you see here is that TikTok is clearly driving the views. So TikTok is really benefiting from, if you just post for a week on an unknown channel, TikTok is already picking up the views. But from our own experience, other platforms require more consistent posting to effectively reach, or at least to get picked up by the algorithm. So that was also one lesson learned. Maybe 1 week was a bit too short. But what we also saw, and maybe one thing that we had, what was the purpose of translated videos, is not that we teach people with these short format content videos about money. That's one thing that we can do with the videos. But it was also, can we create, let's say, if we would, for instance, promote Compass courses, can we create people to click on those courses? And what we saw was that we would need to improve what we would call the call to action. So it needs to be more clear. Okay, there's a free course available on a certain website, because with the call to action that we had was that in the bio, we put links to a certain website and see if people would click by themselves out of curiosity on that website, that was not effective. So no clicks, but also, yeah, we need to do more, give more attention to the call to action. So with that, I think it's good to maybe go to a Q&A. I'm very happy to quickly to discuss all the questions that you have, because I can imagine there are a few.
Yep, I have already questions coming to me, and I have some also before the meeting. So one question is, how much time does it take you to do all this work?
So currently we run, let's say, a professional production, so that we have one full-time employee, which does, let's say, the majority of the production work. So effectively, you need to have, let's say, one full-time employee to do, let's say, the work. But next to that, you also have the programs that you need to use, because one full-time employee is not much for professional production. So we have all these tools that help us to effectively create the content. But you also need to keep in mind myself, but also my wife, who's involved in creating the content. We also put in time to create every week, create new content. So it's a lot of work, but it also depends on what your goal is. So if you want to promote, for instance, a course, and you want to promote an event, that's different than, for instance, the purpose that I have. I also would like to be recognized as a financial expert in this field. So I'm also doing this for what we would call personal branding. I think it's important for people to have a familiar face that they can relate to, can learn from. So that makes it a bit more, it requires more time, but that's also kind of the benefit. So depends a bit on what you want to achieve.
Okay. And the next question follows like the logic. What software do you use?
What software? So
what tools and programs?
So we use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit the videos. We have a software called Autopod, who helps us, which is an AI program, which helps us to edit the original video, and helps us to cut up the video in smaller videos. Next to that, we use Submagic, which we use for the subtitles, which creates the nice interactive subtitles. We have Later.com, which is a program that helps us schedule on the social media platforms, so that we don't need to go to every platform and post each individual post, which takes a lot of time. So we have a different program for that. For the AI translations, we have used Rask AI. There are others as well. We tested a few others, but we found that Rask AI was the most convenient one, but also the better translator. So those are a few programs that we currently use to make, let's say, to make the production. So quite a few programs that we currently use.
Okay. And what hashtags do you use?
Yeah, for that, it's also something that we don't think of ourselves. We currently use ChatGPT to generate. So we post the transcript of the video, we put that in ChatGPT, and then we ask ChatGPT to come up with trending hashtags. So effectively, for each video, we have different hashtags.
Okay. And one more question. We can be overwhelmed with all the technology and the time spending on social media. So how big is your team, and what you have learned working together?
Yeah, so I think on social media, so we currently have a team of 4 people. So we have, but I work with, let's say, other entrepreneurs who help me do bits and pieces of the full production. So we have, let's say, one full-time employee who works with us in our team. But we also work with, let's say, other professionals to help out. The reality is that at least the interaction that we have in the team is that I like the creative process. I think you need to also do this with a bit of a heart, because doing it for the likes or doing it for the views is not very satisfying. It's just the number on a screen, likes and stuff like that. It's something you need to do. You need to, because some people can be very discouraging in the comments on social media. Don't pay too much attention to that. Focus with your team on the stuff that you create. Create beautiful things, and that's something that people get excited about. I get excited about, and something that we can share. And of course, people are also positive. That's why we had 90,000 likes and interactions. Yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, I think the creative process is something that you need to enjoy.
Okay, that's true. We all have different talents. The next question is, what is the profile of your followers?
The profile, that's a very good question. I get it a lot. Depends it's very different for each platform. So on Facebook, it's the age of 25-55, so relatively broad age range, and also male female, it's about 50-50. So it's a very diverse group. TikTok is slightly younger, slightly more male, and for instance, YouTube is more male. So I think about 80% or even 90% of our listeners on YouTube are male. So you see that it depends a bit on the social media platform that we're using. But it's more, let's say, platform dependent. It's not content dependent. Because you could also think that some type of videos would do really well with a certain age demographic, but that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing it's more platform dependent. Some young people use more TikTok, while maybe older people use more Facebook.
Okay, and I will combine two questions. One is if you could share some prices of software that is used for these purposes, some costs for software. And the other question is, how can a volunteer start with very limited resources using social media?
Yeah, I think that the first you need to start with a, let's say, social media strategy. Okay, what do you want to achieve with your social media? So on one hand, so the most easy way to start with social media is, for instance, just use your LinkedIn account. And whenever there's an event, just post it on LinkedIn. You already have a network. You already are active on a platform like that. Or if you have a private Facebook account and you already have connections, you can just share what you want to post, or the thing that you want to share. For instance, an event of Compass, you can just share it on that particular, let's say, social media platform and see what happens. Do people react? Just already get a bit of traction and see how people respond to your content. If you want to be an influencer, then the question is, what do you want to promote? Do you want to do personal branding? Do you want to put yourself out there, or do you want to promote a brand? So in case of Compass, do you want to promote Compass as a brand, or do you want to promote someone individual? And then you need to figure out, okay, what's the best way to do that? So in my particular case, what we found out was that posting a short video, 30 seconds to 60 seconds, a short video, posting that every day, every single day of the week, that's the most effective way for what we would call personal branding. So people will see your face more often, people start reacting to it, and then you have also a higher chance to go viral. That algorithm picks you up, but that means that you need to be very consistent, need to be very active, but that's also when there's a clear, because it would require you to invest also in the beginning. That would require also quite a lot of time, and that would also effectively mean that it becomes more of a business model. So you need to figure out, okay, how do you get your investment back? Is there a product or a service or a course or something that you can steer people to, that you can also create some revenue out of it? Otherwise, it's just, it will just cost you money. So maybe on the costs of these programs, so it depends clearly on each program is quite different, from 50 euros a month to maybe 200 euros a month. So that's a bit the cost range, but it adds up if you have a few of these programs. But effectively, the major cost here is also just having people to do the edit work, having people to film the videos, having people to post the videos on social media. You can do it all yourself, but that requires you to spend also a lot of time on it. So it requires a bit on, okay, how much do you want to do yourself? How much do you want to let somebody else do? But the easiest way to start is just use the social media channels that you already have to post the content that you want to post, for instance, the events that you're organizing, and see what the reactions are. And for instance, on LinkedIn, you can just connect with more people on LinkedIn to increase your reach. I currently have 13,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I just added them myself. And it's not that it's a very simple strategy. Just add people on LinkedIn. Also, people I have no idea who they are. I just added them just to get more reach. And I think on one post, so I get 3,000-4,000 views on a post. I think that's already nice.
Okay. Yeah, and I've heard many people complain that it's very hard to understand the algorithms of the social networks, and even once you understand them, they change. So one thing I heard from you is to say that if you post consistently, let's say if you post every day, sooner or later they will pick you. I mean, if you're consistent, the higher the chance that your videos will be picked by the algorithms. Okay, one more question. What are the topics that have the most views on your channels?
Yeah, very good question. So we post quite a variety of topics. So sometimes we read about scripture in the video. Sometimes we just have a very practical money tip. Sometimes we talk about investing, about generosity. But what we noticed was the let's say the most clickable content, but also the most commented content on is content that people can relate to. So it's something that happened, for instance, in a supermarket. An example about, okay, you want to buy groceries, you want to get a discount, and then something happens, something that people can relate to. So what we notice is that most of our audience is a non-Christian audience. So we reach everybody because our content. So if you just listen to the average video, it's sometimes just about how to save money on a phone, let's say phone subscription, which is very generic. But we also talk about God and money, but because that's, let's say, the more relatable content, it's more picked up by the social media, let's say, algorithm. And people comment on, this is how much I saved on this and this. And then, people start reacting, and that helps to effectively promote the video. So those type of content that people can relate to, that's what we've seen has been the most effective.
Okay, we need to think more about this, and we will do it shortly. Thanks for sharing. We'll stop here, and I want to give the word back to Jesse. He has a few more things to share with us, right?
Yes, definitely. Let me try to share my screen again. because I quickly wanted to, because there are a few questions and also a few remarks that people made about the content. So what can you post on social media? What is useful, what is not? Do you shoot Bible verses? Do you shoot practical money tips? What is something that can effectively help people? But one thing that I found out, one thing that I shared, was that people are looking for practical things, something that they can relate to, something that they can actually do to improve their financial situation. And something that I personally started to explore, and also what I found out is that as a Christian, what we want to do is we want to beat mammon. We effectively want to put Christ first, and we want to put mammon in the back seat. But the only way to do that is that you get control over your money and not let money control you. But how do you get control over your money? Is to be very active with your money, to think about it strategically. What do I do with my money, and how can I use my money to serve the kingdom of God? How can I be generous? How can I invest? But also, how can I spend my money in such a way that it helps my family, but it also helps the kingdom? And I think that what I tend to see with Christians is that they don't want to serve mammon, but the strategy how they do that is by walking away from money. So trying to stay away from money as much as possible. But the reality is that the moment you step away, you don't take responsibility over your money, it starts to live its own life, because it will still have an influence in your life, but you don't have control over it. And that's kind of what mammon wants. He effectively wants to control you through money. So what I want to encourage everybody is to think about, okay, how can you inspire people to make better financial decisions? How to be more generous, not to say, okay, just tithe and do it from you just have to tithe. Of course you need to have the tithe, but why do you need to tithe? It's because you want to effectively create distance between yourself and your money. Actively, you want to help other people. You want to enjoy generosity and see that that's kind of the only thing that you can do with money, that you become happy about. And I think that those principles are for everyone, not just Christians, for everyone who has money. So all people. And then we can use financial discipleship also to teach, let's say, non-believers about, let's say, the principles, but also the added value that these principles have on their financial situation. Because the reality is that if you become more generous, you will have more money. And maybe a non-believer says, yeah, I just want to have more money. But the only way to get there, the only way to improve your financial situation is to gain control over your money, to have a plan with your money. We call it a wealth strategy. We say, okay, when money comes in, what do you do with it? And do it with intention. So I want to quickly use a few minutes to tell what we teach about money, and then hopefully also inspire everyone to think about, okay, how can you use, let's say, biblical principles and make them very, very practical. The first thing what we teach people is that there are 3 levels to wealth. The first is financial peace, not worrying about money again, paying off your debt, maybe having a savings buffer. And the second level is financial freedom, something that people promote online, not needing to work anymore. How Dayton also referred to it. But what I really get excited about, and something that I think is the most practical application of the biblical principles about money, is family wealth. How can you let your money have a positive impact on your family and society? How can you teach people make responsible financial decisions for financial education, but also think about how do you want to have a positive impact with your investments? It's not just a financial return that you're looking for. You also want to make a positive impact with your investments. Nowadays in Europe, more and more Christian investment opportunities are popping up. Is that something that could be interesting for, let's say, yourself as well? But also with your giving. Okay, nice that you give to your church, which is good. But what other things has God put on your heart that he wants to make a change in? And can you do strategic giving and help solve important problems in your society or in your community? So how can you practically make a difference? This is what we aim for. Family wealth is that one generation pulls up another generation. And what we did is that we created a 15-step plan. But before we created the 50-step plan, we thought, okay, what can you do with money? And there are only 4 things that you can do with money. You can spend it, you can save it, you can invest it, and you can give it away. Why do we spend? Of course, we need to pay our bills, but we also want to have some fun. We save because we want to have some money available in case there are unexpected expenses. Maybe you want to save for a new car or a holiday. We invest our money to get a financial return, to have that snowball effect of compound interest, so that the return on your money gets a return on the money, and that starts to grow. And giving you do because you enjoy helping other people, and more importantly is that you have control over your money. That's the only way that you stay in the driving seat. And what we notice is that there's a big difference is how people generally are, let's say, raised up. Their first priority is spending. They want to spend their money. If they have something left over, they save a bit. If they have a few savings, they might invest. And if they are rich, they might give. And I think the biblical priorities are in reverse. We give first, we invest for our future, we save, and then we spend. And I think that's also, if you just look at general theory about money, that works exactly the same, is that the only way you can do giving and investing is that you prioritize them, because if you prioritize spending, you will never get to it. So I think that also let's say the biblical view as well as the scientific view are very aligned. And I think that that's something that we can emphasize. There is a very logical reason why you should start. You need to give first. Why? Because let's say that has the highest return on your money. If you want to be happy, if you want to enjoy, be grateful, I think living is giving. So you need to be, let's say, generous. But the only way you can be generous is that you also prioritize generosity in your financial plan. So we created a 15-step plan, and every 5 levels, or every 3 levels has 5 steps. So in the first step, we say, okay, the first step of your financial journey, you need to get a financial overview. Where are you on your financial journey? Then you need to pay off debt, save for a buffer, invest for retirement, and start helping other people. This is a bit different than what others learn, is that, okay, just do these type of principles. But we thought, okay, how does the whole financial journey look like? So for each step, there's a reason why one thing, you need first to get insight before you can improve something. So first get insight, learn where you are on your financial journey, and start helping other people. I think you can already do it step 1, but what we decided, say, okay, when people are in debt, that's then all the stress, all the anxiety, all the focus is on their own financial situation. Get out of debt first, because then you have more energy, you have more brain capacity to start helping with other people. Financial freedom, it's all about how can you optimize your life? How can you design what we would call your rich life? do you spend your money on the things that make you happy, but also the things that you really love? Have you thought about it? Do you want to spend more money maybe on your family? You need to save consistently. You need to give consistently. You need to optimize your investments, because that's the only way you can let money work for you, and that you can buy back some of your time. And we currently, for instance, have done that. We wanted to start our own business, but because we had some investments that let's say gained money, we were able to, let's say, use these investments to buy some of our time back for us to start a new business. And the final 5 steps are about family wealth. Give financial education to your children. Make a family plan. How does your legacy look like? What kind of legacy do you want? Use a family bank, loaning to your children, helping them financially without ruining them. Make impact with your investments beside a financial return, and also create a foundation if you really have something that has your heart and there's not a foundation in place yet. And I think that for philanthropy is then the fancy word that people use. But can you use your money effectively to have a positive impact on your family and society? So to leave with this quote, wealth is not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep. And wealth is not only about how much you keep, it's about how well you multiply it. It's a famous quote from the book The Richest Man in Babylon from George Clason, which is one of the first personal finances book after the Bible, also inspired by from the Bible. Is that the only way you can build wealth effectively is that you give yourself tools to do that intentionally. Is that you know how to use your income to effectively multiply your income, invest it, but also be generous to gain control over your income. Thank you. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them. But that's in short what we teach people about money.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, that was very helpful. And one takeaway for me specifically is the first step that you mentioned, helping people realize where they are. I think this is one thing that we miss in our ministry, because we take it for granted that they know that they are lost, but they don't realize often that they're in a difficult situation. Only people who are in deep debt, they realize it. Okay, we have questions, time for 1 or 2 more questions, and I will read one that we received. Do you have any biblically responsible investing ETF in your portfolio?
That's a very good question. The good thing is that so in Europe, there were no, let's say, publicly traded investment vehicles available for, let's say, over the past decade. It was just not there. However, the good thing is there's now a Swiss company called Aliter Invest, who's currently rolling out Christian funds in Europe. So clear, that's something I'm also working for them, for Aliter Invest. And we are looking to roll out Christian funds, but that will be country by country rollout. So it depends on which country you live in, whether it's available or not, and how you can buy these funds. But of course, the goal is to effectively roll that out in the coming years to more and more countries. But Christian investing becomes something that will be more available. Yeah.
Okay, I don't see any other questions. Yes, we will share the recording of this presentation. One more question, last question that we receive, and we'll continue with announcements. So what do you think about investing in crypto assets?
It's a very good question. I get that question quite often. I'm an investment professional, so I give you a professional answer. I think you should only invest in assets that have a cash flow. So if you buy a stock or you buy a company, the company makes a profit, and you get a part of the profit, which is a dividend. If you buy real estate, you get rent that you can use, or if you buy a bond, a loan, you get interest. So you get a cash flow that you can reinvest, and that will get a return again that you can reinvest, and that creates a snowball effect called compound interest. Crypto, gold, collectible cars, they don't have a cash flow. You can still invest in them, hope for the best, but they don't have a cash flow. So I generally would invest in things that have a cash flow. Why? Because it's more predictable. You get a more predictable return. But if you invest in something without a cash flow, it's all about how much demand there is and how much available it is. So it can go anywhere. So I personally, digital currency, I think that's you can invest in it and hope for the best. But there's not a let's say reason for an investor to hold on to that, because there's no cash flow. And of course, you can put it in a stake pool. There are alternatives to that, but let's not go into those details. Happy to do that in a different format, but invest in things that generate cash flow. I think that's a good principle.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that answers the questions, and we have 2 more minutes, which I will use for a couple of announcements. Next ZoomCafe is a month from now, on the 16th of April, and the topic will be discipleship. We have invited someone who is really deep into discipleship, not only in words, but in deeds. He's leading discipleship groups all the time, and he's very passionate about it. And I found out that part of his curriculum for his discipleship group includes the topic of finances, personal finances. So our dear brother Emmanuel will share with us next month on the topic of discipleship. In a minute, I will post the link into the chat, but you can also scan the QR code and register. And a rule of thumb, our Zoom cafes are each 3rd Tuesday of the month. So to make it easy, each 3rd Tuesday of the month, we have the Zoom cafe, and 16th of April is how to move from theory into practice, into the discipleship. And also we have several courses that are starting. So we are a discipleship ministry, and we run courses which try to help people get closer to God, especially in the area of finances. So here are 4 courses that will start very soon, so you can still have a chance to register. One is, if you're a beginner, if you're new to the ministry, you can join the Building Your Finances God's Way course. If you're a woman, feel free to join The Woman Who Prospers. It's based on Andres Panasiuk book, and all people love Andres. I don't know anyone that doesn't love Andres, so it's very, very good content, and always awesome. Olga Buldireva is a great facilitator, so I believe you'll enjoy it. Making Financial Discipleship course, if you're already familiar with finances, but you want to help others grow, you may learn more on discipleship with this course. And if you're already experienced and want to lead others in the ministry, we have a course on leadership based on the book of Nehemiah, and I will paste the links into the chat in a minute. Huge thank you to Jesse. I believe it was helpful, and we'll find ways to continue to partner and to learn and to serve the Lord. And let me finish with a prayer.